All right, we're ready to go.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. How are you doing? I'm Steve Reynolds. I'm the Senior Sales Engineer and Account Manager here at EnVue Telematics. If we could you go around the room and introduce yourselves and tell me your role with the company?
Sure. I spoke to you before. I'm the head of transportation here at Grocery Supply. I handle all of our fleet supply trucks.
I'm James Brady. I'm off the floor, so I'm the finance director.
Yeah, Brady handles all our financial needs here for transportation department.
CFO.
Yeah, and I'm Steph, and I'm with the HR director.
You did the audit. The gas.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So today, what I'm going to do is since we haven't spent a ton of time together on the phone, is to try to gain a little bit better understanding of your operation, your fleet makeup, what it is that you're trying to accomplish by deploying this technology. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about Geotab's capability on the hardware side, which is truly plug and play. It's very easy to get up and running. And then review the web portal software, the My Geotab platform. So if you would, could you give me a description of your operation and incorporated in that the makeup of your fleet, the type of vehicles that you're running, and compliance issues that you have, and how you're meeting those today?
Sure. Well, at Grocery Supply, we are located in Houston. We currently deliver to all independent grocery stores throughout the Midwest, or in the Midwest. We have 53 fleet trucks ranging from 15 to 20-foot trucks, 18-wheelers. Our main thing is we're having some efficiency issues, and of course compliance regulations, the FSMA. We currently use ELOT. We use paper still. Oh, we don't use paper. We have to use. Well, yeah, we currently still use paper, and that's actually been hard to have a lot of the guys that drive do correctly or bring with them at all.
Yeah.
Let's see. Pretty much just keeping costs low, finding a good way to track what everybody's doing is what I'm looking for. We have outsourced our frozen food area, so our trucks are currently only carrying confection, any box, besides groceries from the third parties like Nestle and P&G, products like that on flats.
So talk to me a little bit about maintenance of the fleet. Do you do maintenance on your own? Do you have your own maintenance shop? Do you farm it out?
We actually got new, we replaced several of our trucks about 10 years ago, and our finance.
And we're looking at maybe slowly moving. We outsource some of the
we do maintenance in-house.
Well, we do maintenance in-house.
We do maintenance in-house.
And then we also are looking at maybe, I'm trying to decide what we need to go the route of when we look at the amortization on these vehicles, when get rid of them. Do we want to move to a fleet management company to outsource it, or keep them, keep the vehicles in-house? So that's something we're looking at.
Okay.
That's like 3 to 5 years from now.
You have to speak up.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your current telematics provider from the perspective of what did you think it was going to enable you to do versus what it actually can do or can't do. And then a little bit about your current contractual situation. I believe it's with Verizon, is that correct?
Yes, and actually I misspoke. Verizon Connect, they use a Teletrack Newman on only the frozen vehicles that we have actually outsourced now. So currently for the dry goods, we are not using an EDL. I am looking to find a good a system. I'm looking to find a good GPS tracking system, but I am not going to lie. I am considering Verizon since I am familiar with the process.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a pretty good overview. Thanks for laying that out for me. Before I get into the hardware and the software, I want to explain the relationship of the parties. EnVue Telematics is one of the largest resellers for Geotab, and Geotab is the largest telematics provider globally. Their go-to-market strategy is a wholesale distribution model, where they have value-added resellers like EnVue interface directly with the client. Why that's of value to you is that it's the antithesis of a mega call center environment. My role with the company is a pre-sales engineering role, and then post-sale, it's in an account management role. And we are very hands-on in terms of how we manage your account, beginning from onboarding and setting up your database through to making recommendations on reports, alerts, and dashboards, so you can feel certain that you're extracting a return on investment. My background is I've been in the business for about 12 years. I've both sold and implemented telematics solutions and video-based safety, but I've also been on the corporate side as director of telematics for a large publicly held company. And what I know to be true about telematics is that everybody is going to proclaim and will provide some level of data to take action on. But the key to that is actionable data. And we have some features and functionality in our software that will enable you to gain quick visibility into things around safety, around cost, around fleet cost, and around compliance. Can you folks see my screen okay?
Yes, I can see it.
Yep.
So how we really view a relationship with a client is we think about it in 4 pillars of return on investment. First being enhanced risk management, reducing your risk. And there's some methodology and feature and functionality that I'm going to show you today that can do that. So what's important, though, is that we set goals together about reducing risk or cost or fleet cost or increasing productivity or becoming much more compliant with hours of service reporting. So we really focus on these 4 different elements. Increase productivity, reduce operating costs through monitoring excessive speed and idle time and tracking fuel economy. So tell me a little bit about your compliance challenges. Have you ever been audited? Because using paper in this day and age, I'm surprised you haven't been flagged at a weigh station.
We've had some issues. James handles the finance issues and audits. James?
Yeah, we've had problems.
Okay. So I'm going to show you how quickly we can bring you up to speed in terms of compliance, because it's not as daunting as people like to make it out. And one of the key elements to that is to be very user-friendly on the driver's side. I've got a simulator where I can mimic being a driver and show you the steps that they would take to remain compliant with hours of service and our ELD.
Okay, and I did want to say that we only have a few places where we deliver in Louisiana, but other than that, it's really Dallas, Austin, Houston that have the stores that we have about 6 major chains ranging from HEBs to Fiestas, if you've heard of those. Curlin's, Piggly Wiggly.
Yeah, definitely.
So compliance-wise, we don't go outside Texas. Well, we have 2 drivers that really do that.
Okay. there's some elements of compliance that are required. I get it. Well, and I'll show you how that's done and how we can simplify your needs there. So the first element that we'll talk about is the device itself and the installation process. This device, our Go9 device, obviously has gone through 9 iterations and development over time. It's a very small form telematics black box that's got 3 elements to it. It's got a GPS receiver to get location information second by second. It has an accelerometer in it that measures G-force on 3 axes, front to back, side to side, and up and down. And it has a 90 decibel alarm in it. And I'll get into why you'd use that and how we would use that.
Okay.
But our system is truly plug and play. Is that what I'm showing you is a picture of what we call a Y harness, because you want to leave the OBD port open for diagnostic scan tools. Now, this happens to be a light-duty cable, but we do have a plethora of cables with the 9-pin Deutsch connector that is really the same function as you're seeing here. And you plug the device, let me blow it up a little bit here. We plug the device into the port and we zip tie it. And then we recommend you bundling these cables up and zip tying them again up underneath the dash so they can't be tampered with.
Okay.
So let me just jump into a supporting doc here. So here is, and this is right off of our website. You can go on to geotab.com, and there's a, if you click into the device, it'll open up this document. The things that I wanted to point out to you is that obviously it's very small form. These lights on the device show power, cell signal, and GPS latch. And our device has proven itself to have some of the fastest GPS latch acquisition times. Why is that critical? Because you want to be able to absorb as much data as possible in real time. And we also provision these devices on the best carrier, whether it be Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile. We take a look at the heat map for that area and make sure that we're provisioning on the best system. All the updates to the firmware can be done over the air, which is a big differentiator. Not everybody can do that, and you only find out when there's a major firmware update. They have to touch the truck, and obviously, in your world, that's expensive to do.
What kind of updates? I'm a grocery person, so what kind of updates are you talking about?
Cellular modems, updates to the device for initial provisioning, and software enhancements get pushed to the device, to the firmware. So if there's some
I don't have to do anything, it's handled by y'all, all the updates?
No.
Okay.
That's correct. That's correct. It has LTE connectivity. That's the fastest and most secure today. Mm-hmm. One of the things that makes us very unique is the expandability of the system. Is that through our, what we call IOX, input-output expansion port, you can tether things like cameras to the system. And I'm going to get into talking about our rules engine, but we can take devices and trigger them to turn on based on our rule set. And rule sets are things around unsafe driving, speeding, driving without a seatbelt on.
Okay.
This is totally unique to Geotab is engine and battery health assessments. We're going to know if any of the cluster panel lights are on and what they mean. And we're going to be able to give you a separate assessment as far as battery health in voltage.
Okay.
So in your current relationship, how does that functionality stack up to what you've experienced so far?
Well, the frozen, as I told you, it is going now to a third-party delivery. But it seems very similar so far.
Okay.
I do like I don't have cameras, so I would like to see my guys. We do check the trucks ourselves every 500 miles. Or at least my guys say we do, but it's nice to have proof in case something were to happen to one of my guys on the road.
Yeah, sure.
And just since the cost of accidents have gone up, liability and insurance costs, I just had to give my guys a raise. How much are all these things? That's another very important thing to me.
Yeah, let's do this before we get into any type of pricing. I want to run into the full functionality of the system so you understand what you're actually getting for a price.
Okay.
Can we do that?
Yeah. So I'm really
Okay,
interested in how I see it. Are the people that work for me, the drivers, supposed to handle a dashboard, or how does that all? Where does the information?
No. I'll show you in a second. We're going to start with the basic engine of the system which are two things. It's the hierarchy of your organization, how you want to slice and dice it, and how we set up our rules engine, which are going to trigger reports, alerts, and dashboards. And then we're going to get into more of the compliance aspects of the system. So can you see my screen here?
Yes.
Should be a map. So the first thing I want to say is everybody talks about their system being intuitive. Ours truly is intuitive. If I didn't give you any tutorials, if I just gave you a login and nothing else, just by roaming around through the system, you'd be able to discern the features and functionality. What I would do as your account manager is to really get granular, to expose things or give visibility to things that are really costing you in terms of risk, in terms of fleet costs, in terms of productivity or compliance. So that's what we really focus on. So when you log into the system, you can have it default to whatever page you want it to open on. So if you go into options, about the middle of the page, it says default page on startup, and I always have it at the map, because most people that are coming into the system are doing so to find a vehicle. So I'll come back to the mapping here in just a second, and we want to start with the rules engine. So these rules, and when I say engines, these are either actions by a driver or by a dispatcher that you can expose in the form of alerts, reports, and dashboards. So you've got them bucketed in safety, productivity, fleet, and compliance. And you see things like DVR pre-trip missing, DVR post-trip missing. Those can be extremely valuable, to know when your fleet leaves in the morning that those DVRs have been done. So we'll get to that in the compliance portion. So safety is pretty straightforward: hard braking, acceleration, cornering, speed. We're unique in that we can get very granular on the speed. You can define speed as anything you want, 6 to 8 miles an hour over the speed limit for a duration of whatever you want. What we're trying to do here is eliminate false positives. Most telematics provider is going to give you like a threshold that says, let me know when I'm speeding 5 miles an hour over the posted speed limit. Well, that could just be a short burst of somebody trying to pass slower traffic, trying to merge onto a highway. We're not interested in those. We're interested in real true speed, the intent of speed, and I'll show you how we ferret that out a little bit. So seat belts, after hours usage in your operation, there probably is no such thing because they don't take vehicles home. Productivity, a big one is going to be idle. I know that you have partially a refrigerated fleet where you have to idle to keep the reefer on.
Yes, every 4 hours, just during stops.
So we're going to be able to segment the idling frequency, and you're going to be able to discern whether it's legitimate or not. Because there's necessary idling and there's unnecessary idling. So some of these elements here wouldn't apply to a commercial operation. It's more of a service operation around late arrival, early leave, unauthorized home stops. You can use them, you can turn them on, but I don't think you have a lot of that in your business. Fleet cost. Engine lights are on, battery drain below 12 volts, unauthorized device removal. We'll make best practice recommendations around what to turn on and what to turn off. So the first thing that we would do is to group your hierarchy. And you can do this in, top level to a parent, to a child, to a grandchild. You can take this out as far as you want. So if you want to segment it geographically, that's easy to do. If you want to segment it by vehicle type and what they do, we can do that as well. So, when you report, you can report on individual groups, not just drill down to the to the micro level all the time.
Okay.
So let's get into mapping here for a second. So following along the theme of a hierarchy. Hey, Steph.
Yes.
I gotta jump off. I'm distracted here. I've got a problem that I gotta put out with a customer here.
Okay.
I hear his phone ringing.
I'm sorry.
So we'll reschedule.